नहीं, हमने बातचीत करी, हमारा पूरा प्रयास था। हमारे लोग ही राजी नहीं हो रहे थे, क्योंकि प्रश्न ये नहीं था कि कितनी सीटें, प्रश्न था कि कौन सी सीटें। उनके वो लोग तो नंबर नहीं था, जो सीटें वो चाहते थे, उस पर हम अपने लोगों को कन्विंस नहीं कर पाए।
After multiple warnings from Akhilesh, Kamalnath response is tried to convince cadres for seats. Big face-off between BJP and Congress. Nadda hits back after Kharge writes to PM alleging misuse of public servants. IDF airstrikes killed deputy head of Hamas artillery array in Gaza Strip, who played key role in October 7th attack. Jaishankar gives it back to Trudeau, raises interference by Canadian personnel, says more details will emerge soon. India puts humanity first, sends aid to Palestine as Israel-Hamas war continues to rage on. All right, welcome friends on Sunday edition of This Is Exclusive, where we are going to continue to focus on the biggest story of the last fortnight, which is the Israel-Hamas war, and Israel is going all out in its fight against terror. In the latest that we are getting in, IDF fighter jets have killed Mohammad Katmash, the deputy head of Hamas artillery unit in the Gaza Strip. He was in fact responsible for many of the artillery operations in Hamas's central brigade in Hamas-controlled territory. He played a significant role in planning and execution of fire directed at Israel from the territory in their control. In previous rounds of fighting, in fact, he played a role in the October 7th terror attack as well. I'm told Gursimran is joining us live from Tel Aviv. And let's go directly to him before we look at a report filed by him. Gursimran, please share with us the latest. India has sent in aid which is going to go in through the Rafah crossing. But then what's the situation like in terms of Israeli counter-offensive as of today?
See, Abhishek, right now we are traveling in the Zakini area, which remains to be one of the operational base, and in a minute's time I'll be switching the visuals to the operational base of the Israel Defense Forces. So these are the visuals that we are passing by from one of the key operational bases of the Israel Defense Forces. These are continuously targeting the places on the Gaza side. As we continue to move from this very place, you will find the huge deployment of the soldiers, especially the artillery that has been deployed here on the ground zero. Important to mention that earlier in the day, the deputy chief of the wing that is instrumental, that was instrumental in carrying out the attack on the 7th of October, in which more than 1,300 Israeli were killed, and also some of the foreign nationals, the number of pages, 244 foreign nationals were killed. So these are the operational base, which the visuals we are showing. This has many of the Markava tanks and other heavy artillery that has been put in place by the Israel side. This is very close to the Gaza border, and they are continuously firing at the locations of the Gaza where
I think it's some connectivity issue. We lost Gursimran there. He's on the move, bringing you those fantastic reports over the last fortnight, viewers, from the war zone, and suggesting that Israel ground offensive is ready and would be launched anytime once the political decision is taken to that effect. In the pictures, you continue to see the kind of precision targeting of Hamas infrastructure that's been carried out by Israel over the last few days. Gursimran, I'm told, is back with us. Gursimran, continue from where you left. Also tell us how far are we really from the ground defensive, because every day we keep hearing that the forces are ready, the IDF are ready, just that they're waiting for a political nod.
See, Abhishek, when we spoke to the industry minister of the Israel government, he said that the green signal from the political leadership has been given, but now it is up to the Israel Defense Forces to carry out the operation. But when it comes to the operations, it is very important that the Israel side is going by the military tactics. What they are doing is they are weakening the Hamas from carrying out the Hamas by carrying out the operations from here only, be it the airstrikes or the pin precision strikes that are being carried out with the help of heavy artillery that has been deployed very close to the border. So now the Israel side seems to be in wait and watch mode, as it seems as two of the hostages have been released, the two American nationals, and still over 200 are in the are hostages with the Hamas side. So possibly some negotiations, what it seems, because there is a series of meetings that are going on, be it with the direct involvement of the Israel side or not. Because today we have also seen that the coordinator for the hostages has also met the International Red Cross Society and has thanked them for the efforts in bringing back the two civilians, and has also urged them to continue with this initiative. That clearly means that the Israel side first wants the hostages to be out of the control of the Hamas, and then they want to carry out the operation. Because one thing that has been made very clear by the political leadership as well as the Israel Defense Forces, that their operation, the Operation Iron Sword, the main objective of the operation remains to be that they want a complete wipeout of the Hamas from the world map. This is not only restricted to the invasion of Gaza, and they said that we want a similar kind of access that we have to West Bank in the Gaza if there is a situation that emerges. That means the Israel side don't want any kind of full-fledged invasion of Gaza, but regular access to Gaza. Yes, Abhishek.
Right, that's a good perspective, Gursimran. In fact, reporting from the Zikkim border near Gaza, and earlier Gursimran also filed a report from the Rafah crossing, from where the humanitarian aid has started going in the Gaza Strip for the affected Palestinians. So let's look at that report.
Israel side is keeping a strict vigil on what is going inside the Gaza territory, because this remains to be their apprehension that the friends of Hamas will try to help them in every possible way. Right now we are reporting from the Rafah border, and these kibbutz, Gwalots and the nearby kibbutz, here the civilians have taken up arms to secure their areas. I'll request Vijay Surendra Shah if he can show you that we are outside the kibbutz. No one is allowed to go inside the kibbutz other than those who are from the army or those who have been living here for long. I'll request Vijay Surendra Shah to show that these sophisticated arms and ammunition that the civilians are carrying, they are ensuring that their area is secured, and they also have the IDF soldiers along with them. These weapons that they are carrying, these are the highly sophisticated weapons that they have got from the Israel Defense Forces, be it the Tavor or the carbines that they have got from the Israel Defense Forces, because these weapons they can decimate the enemy within no time. And apart from that, they are also have established a proper control and command center here. See, this is one of their control and the command center from where they are operating. They are giving each and every update that is taking place, because since this is a border area, every update is being shared with the IDF on almost minute-to-minute basis. Additional, the reinforcement has also been kept on the standby, and these are the bulletproof jackets and additional weaponaries that they have put here on the standby. This is to ensure that any attempt by the Hamas terrorists, because this is a border area and the possibility of what has happened on 7th of October cannot be ruled out, and that's why they are ensuring that along with the civilians, the army deployment ensures that the kibbutz are safe, because kibbutz have been the target, be it the kibbutz Saad, kibbutz Nihal Ozi, kibbutz Be'eri, kibbutz Be'er Shiva or kibbutz Kfar Aza. They have been the target, the worst hit places, and also kibbutz Reim, where the music dance festival was going on and more than 200 people, 260 people, they were brutally killed by the Hamas terrorists. So after the attacks of 7th of October on the Kibbutz Be'eri and the other kibbutz, the security has been beefed up to a large extent. Now the civilians have taken up arms and ammunition to give the enemy a befitting reply. See, any entry, see those who are going out, they are also going with the permission of those who have been deployed here. And also the IDF soldiers who have been deployed are ensuring that everything is kept at standby. These are the vehicles of the IDF soldiers that has also been kept here, and they are also having the additional reinforcement in them. So a multi-place barricading and checks have been placed at all the locations of Israel, especially to the kibbutz, where the locals along with the IDF soldiers are keeping a strict vigil on what is happening. This also becomes very important in the view that the Israel side is planning the advancement, but they are also ensuring that their defenses are also strong, because without the strong defenses you cannot expect that you will be able to decimate the enemy, an enemy that too like Hamas, who have shown their brutal face on 7th of October, wherein they have killed more than 1,300 persons, the innocent civilians, those who were in their homes, who were enjoying the music night festivals and whatnot. But now what it seems that the strengthening of the hinterland security grid has been taken really very seriously by the security agencies, and that's why here on the ground zero, you will find that the troops of the Israel Defense Forces as well as the civilians, they are ensuring that every moment is captured. Even the cameras have been placed. We are told that these cameras, they were here earlier as well, but now they are broadcasting each and every move to the Israel Defense Forces. See the bulletproof bunkers that are coming out. These BP bunkers were placed inside the kibbutz. Earlier, they used to be part of the border areas only, but now what has happened that the bulletproof vehicles have been inducted inside the kibbutz also. That means the security forces are ensuring that the kibbutz are secure to any attack, and in case of any attack take place, these bulletproof vehicles are inside so as to avoid any collateral damage that the terrorists are planning to do, because the threat of the enemy lies everywhere. You cannot say and cannot ignore that the Hamas is a brutal terror group that has killed more than 1,300 civilians in Israel, and now the security of the kibbutz, how it has been beefed up. We are showing you from the ground zero in the Rafah border that these bulletproof bunkers, the CCTV cameras, the heavily armed IDF troops, the civilians with the arms and ammunition and whatnot. That means a foolproof security arrangement has been done, and also the special command and control center that has been established. I'll request Vijay Surendra Shah if he can show you that these are the systems that have been put in place. Real-time monitoring of each and every movement that is taking place on the cameras. This clearly shows that how seriously the systems have been put in place, and the hinterland security has been beefed up to a next level, to a large extent. The IDF soldiers are also here with the Tavor guns and the other state-of-art weapon systems and the communication devices with them. So this all, Samiksha, on ground is the part of the new system that has been adopted by the Israel side, especially post the attack that has taken place. These are some of the bunkers that have been placed, have been established. I'll request Vijay Surendra Shah if he can show that this road also leads to the border side, but these are the bunkers that have been built. So what actually for this have been built, that in case of any stand of fire, these bunkers can act as lifesavers. So one deployment here, and then on the other side, this clearly means that in case of any stand of fire, this can be used as a cover by the Israel Defense Forces or the civilians who have taken up the arms and ammunition for their country.
Alright, that was Gursimran, and we also have Alisha Nair, who has been there for the last fortnight, reporting from the war zone, reporting this time from Kibbutz Be'eri, which was one of the worst hit after Hamas attack. Here is a report filed by Alisha.
Public is reporting from Kibbutz Be'eri, which is just a miles away from the Gaza Strip. But the condition here, the situation in Kibbutz Be'eri is being worst as the people were living their normal life. But on 7th of October, when the Hamas terrorists who invaded whether through air, by through aerial, land and maritime, they invaded and started open firing. Not only this, but they also started striking on the missiles. They fired the missiles, As the situation, the picture says it's all. What the condition that happened in Kibbutz Be'eri, it was more than 120 people who lost their life, and many of the people, and including children, were abducted. This was the only strategy of the Hamas terrorists who invaded inside, and then they started open firing on the people. They were just waiting. They used to burn the house of the people, and when people used to come outside, they used to do an open fire. And there are still bullets which has been lying on ground, as you can see. There are many of the number of bullets that has been fired. They used to open fire on the people who used to come out to save their life. But the situation, the pictures on your screen, as you can clearly see, the house has been completely destroyed. The life of the people have been completely devastated. They didn't even imagine. This is right after a surprise attack that happened from the Gaza Strip, where the Hamas terrorists who entered to Kibbutz Be'eri. It was around early morning at 6:30 when they entered to Kibbutz Be'eri, and they started open firing. They started with the rocket missiles that was fired. Houses were burned. There were also a playground, which is now has been destroyed completely. As I mentioned, there are more than 120 people who lost their life, and many of the people have been abducted. I'm joined with the Israeli Defense Force spokesperson, Major Doron. Sir, if you can talk about, as we have been reporting from Kibbutz Be'eri, which is the hardest hit area, is the community that has been completely, their life has been completely devastated. How the Hamas terrorists who entered and invaded Israel, if you can talk about.
What Hamas did was they practiced for a very long time in how to attack a civilian community of women and children, mostly women and children, and men as well, that were not prepared. They stormed across the border very quickly on motorcycles and in cars, and also with hang gliders, and flew in. They came to the front gate and immediately assassinated a family, broke through the gate, and very quickly came in and began to shoot everything in sight. The people were caught by surprise because of the brutality. And it took many hours. A small group of people tried fighting them, and it took many hours until we were able to arrive and regain control. And in that time, they slaughtered the people here.
What is a clear message to the Hamas terrorists who tried to invade Israel and devastated the life of the people who were staying very normally?
These were good people. This was our family, and we are going to defend our family. We are going to find every single person from Hamas that did this and eliminate them. We are going to eliminate Hamas as an organization so that this can never happen again.
There is also a thing of a ground invasion that is going to be started very soon. It's just about the civilian who has still been stuck where the Hamas terrorist is taking a human shield. So when the ground invasion is going to start, ground offensive is going to start.
Israel is ready for a ground invasion. If we are given the order, we will carry this out. It will be a great challenge because Hamas is hiding behind innocent people. Israel's trying to move the innocent people out of the way, but it's very difficult because Hamas is breaking international law by holding them there. And that is our challenge, but defeating Hamas is the biggest priority.
Republic is the only channel who have been reporting with the IDF constantly moving towards each and every partner of Israel. The rockets being fired, of course, at Kibbutz Be'eri only. And I'll just show you the visual of the fenced border which we have been reporting. As you can see, the fence has been completely broken here. And this is because the Hamas terrorists who entered, half of them have come from the paragliding and others have came from the same border, where they started open firing on the people. Many of the houses have been destroyed.
Till today, Hamas is firing rockets at Israeli civilians, normal type of people that were living here.
Republic is the only channel who have been reporting from Israel's Iron Dome military defense system. Okay, we have to get down again. It's a missile. It's a missile has been fired. As you can see on your screen, there are missiles which
showing you. Alicia has been exclusively reporting from the ground zero that this was the Iron Dome system that has just now fired another missile. So these are the exclusive visuals that we are showing.
The rocket that has been fired but has now been intercepted by the Iron Dome. Confident about the Israeli forces has it, and they are on their way.
रॉकेट जो है वो यहाँ पर दागे जा रहे हैं और वो देखिए आप हमारे सिर के ऊपर से पास में जो है वो
All right, now we have Amit Singh, our correspondent from Republic Bharat, joining us live from Gaza border. In fact, he has landed a couple of days back to bolster our team covering the war zone from ground zero. Amit, जरा बताएं आप एग्जैक्टली कहां पर हैं और आपका अभी क्या अनुभव रहा है, किस तरह की तैयारी आपको देखने की मिल रही है इजरायली सेना की लड़ाई के लिए?
बिल्कुल, मैं आपको बताऊं कि मैं सिदरौत में हूं, गाजा बॉर्डर के बहुत करीब का इलाका है और सुबह से जिन जिन इलाकों में मैं गया हूं मैं आपको बताऊं कि हैवी डिप्लॉयमेंट फोर्सेस की हैं। हम अलग अलग जगहों पे गए जहां पे आर्टिलरी और बीएमपीज तैनात की गई हैं, लेकिन बहुत हालत सेंसिटिव है क्योंकि किबुत्ज का जो इलाका है वो गाजा बॉर्डर के बहुत करीब है। रफा का जो इलाका है वहां पर भी लगातार रॉकेट हमले होते रहे हैं। बीती रात हम सिदरौत में थे और सिदरौत में भी लगातार रात भर हमले हुए रॉकेट से। आयरन डोम लगातार रात भर बचता रहा और रॉकेट्स को मार गिरा रहा था और इंटरसेप्ट कर रहा था। लेकिन बड़ी बात मैं आपको बताऊं, क्योंकि अब जो इजरायली सेना बहुत वो चाहती है कि गाजा के अंदर जो बैटलफील्ड है वहां पर घुस के जो मैन टू मैन कॉम्बैट में मुफ्तला शामिल होना चाहती है इजराइल फोर्स। लेकिन बहुत मुश्किल की बात यह है क्योंकि तीन तरफा अब ये लड़ाई हो चुकी है, 3 फ्रंट वॉर खुल चुका है। उधर लेबनान जॉर्डन से हूती जो मिलिशिया ग्रुप है और जो हिजबुल्लाह है वो लगातार हमले कर रहा है इजराइल के ऊपर, साथ ही साथ इधर हमास से भी उनकी जंग चल रही है। लेकिन एक बात यह भी है कि इस बीच ईरान भी तमाम जो आर्म्स एम्युनिशन की सपोर्ट है इन आतंकवादी संगठनों को दे रहा है, इसलिए दिक्कत बहुत बढ़ गई है। उधर रशिया और चीन खड़े हैं हमास के साथ और अरब कंट्रीज के साथ। ये भी एक बहुत मनोवैज्ञानिक दबाव इजराइल पर बना रहा है क्योंकि इजराइल को सामने रखकर रशिया और चाइना अपना हित साधना चाहते हैं अमेरिका पर दबाव बनाकर। लेकिन अभी हालात यहां पर बिल्कुल भी ठीक नहीं है। जिस तरह से जनीन इलाके में बीती रात एक अल अंसार नाम की मस्जिद थी, वहां पर एयर स्ट्राइक हुई है जहां बड़ी तादाद में आर्म्स एम्युनिशन डेटोनेटर्स और आईडीज मिले हैं। तो बड़ा सवाल यही था कि मस्जिद के भीतर आतंकवादी पनाह लिए हुए थे। एक दिक्कत यह भी है कि सिविलियंस के बीच में हमास के आतंकवादी घूम रहे हैं, इसलिए आईडीएफ फोर्सेस को यह आइडेंटिफाई करना बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है कि भाई ये सिविलियन हैं या हमास के आतंकी हैं। इसीलिए आज नॉर्दर्न गाजा इलाके में बाकायदा लीफलेट बांटे गए हैं जिस पर यह लिखा था कि अगर आप नॉर्दर्न इलाका नहीं खाली करते हैं गाजा स्ट्रिप का तो हम आपको हमास का आतंकवादी समझेंगे। कल रात से लगातार हमास के अलग अलग इलाकों में एयर स्ट्राइक हो रही हैं और लगातार बहुत प्रिसाइज एक्शन हो रहे हैं। जो डिफेंस सैटेलाइट्स के जरिए कोऑर्डिनेट शेयर हो रहा है उसी पर हमले हो रहे हैं, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं हमास और अरब कंट्रीज ये प्रोपेगेंडा बना रहे हैं कि इजरायली हमलों में सिविलियंस मारे जा रहे हैं, बच्चे मारे जा रहे हैं, बुजुर्ग मारे जा रहे हैं। इसीलिए इजरायल ने साफ कर दिया है कि जो इलाके जहां पर हमास के आतंकवादी हो सकते हैं उन इलाकों को खाली करना जरूरी है। साथ ही वेस्ट बैंक का जो इलाका यरूशलेम का इलाका है वहां पर करीब 13 ऐसे गांव थे जहां उनको खाली कराया गया है, क्योंकि वहां पर मुमकिन है कि एयर स्ट्राइक इजरायली फोर्सेस करे। इसके अलावा करीब 600 लोगों को गिरफ्तार किया गया है वेस्ट बैंक से, जहां पर उनमें से करीब 400 लोग ऐसे थे, मैं आपको बताऊं, जो कहीं ना कहीं हमास के आतंकवादियों को पैसे दे रहे थे, खाना दे रहे थे, हाइडआउट्स उनको मुहैया करा रहे थे। इसलिए ये जंग बहुत मुश्किल हो चली है, क्योंकि सिविलियंस भी आतंकवादियों के साथ घूम रहे हैं अलग अलग इलाकों में और ये फर्क करना बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है कि वो आतंकवादी हैं या फिर सिविलियन। हम जिन जिन इलाकों में सुबह से रिपोर्ट करने के लिए गए, मैं ज़रात में एक आर्मी हेडक्वार्टर था वहां पे गया था, ज़ुखीनी में गया था, वहां पर हमने देखा कि वो हर सिविलियन से उनके आईडी कार्ड, उनकी नेशनलिटी पूछ रहे हैं, जबकि वो जान रहे हैं कि ये इजरायली है, आसपास के इलाके का रहने वाला है, लेकिन उनको इतना शक हो रहा है क्योंकि जो ज्यादातर आतंकवादी मैं आपको बताऊं उन्होंने अपनी दाढ़ी कटवा रखी है, बाल छोटे करा रखे हैं, उनका गेटअप उन्होंने चेंज कर लिया है, फॉर्मल्स पहनने लगे हैं। इसलिए बहुत मुश्किल हो रही है पहचानने में कि वो सिविलियंस हैं कि आतंकवादी हैं। इसके अलावा एक बड़ा मुश्किल हालात ये भी है क्योंकि इराक लगातार आर्म्स एम्युनिशन की सप्लाई हमास को कर रहा है चोरी छिपे टनल के रास्ते, बैकडोर से, जिसकी वजह से हमास अभी भी इस जंग में शामिल है। 7 अक्टूबर को पहला हमला जब हुआ दिन में, उसके बाद से लगातार रोज समझिए कि 10 से 15 हजार जो रॉकेट से अब तक दागे जा चुके हैं और अभी भी लगातार रॉकेट हमले हो रहे हैं। तो बड़ा सवाल यह भी है कि हमास जैसे आतंकवादी संगठन के पास 50,000 रॉकेट्स कहां से आ रहे हैं। इसके अलावा हूती जो मिलिशिया ग्रुप है वो भी धमकी दे रहा है इजराइल को कि अगर हमास के खिलाफ उन्होंने ऑपरेशन नहीं रोका तो वो भी हमला करेंगे। हिजबुल्लाह भी उधर से हमले कर रहा है। हिजबुल्लाह के बहुत सारे ठिकाने थे जिस पर जो आईडीएफ फोर्सेज उन्होंने एयर स्ट्राइक कर उनको तबाह किया। लेकिन देखिए अंधेरे में तीर चलाने जैसा होगा क्योंकि बहुत प्रिसाइज होकर अटैक करना होगा। भले इजराइल बहुत डेस्परेट है गाजा में वो बिल्टअप एरिया में वॉर एस्केलेट करने के लिए, लेकिन ये बहुत मुश्किल होगा क्योंकि सिविलियंस को अलग कर पाना आतंकवादियों से ये सबसे बड़ा टास्क है जिसमें इजरायली सेना अभी जूझ रही है। बैक टू स्टूडियो।
All right, thank you, Amit, for this perspective from the ground, joining us live from the Gaza border. And on that note, I believe we slip into a short break. On the other side, a focus on the Israel-Hamas war continues.
In the India Today Best Universities 2023 survey, released recently, India's #1 ranked universities in various streams are JNU Delhi, Amity University, AIMS Delhi, IIT Delhi, and National Law School, Bengaluru.
The Republic is the only channel who have been reporting from Israel's Iron Dome military defense system. Okay, we have to get down again. It's a missile. It's a missile has been fired. As you can see on your screen, there are missiles showing you.
Alisha has been exclusively reporting from the ground zero that this was the Iron Dome system that has just now fired another missile. So these are the exclusive visuals that we are showing.
The rocket that has been fired but has now been intercepted by the Iron Dome. as we have been reporting from the same border is the Gaza Strip, where all the Hamas terrorists which enter the Kibbutz Be'eri and they started open firing. Not only this, but the rockets have also been fired from the Gaza Strip by the Hamas terrorists. It was more than 120 people who lost their lives. The visuals on your screen is of the IDF, which have taken all the area it's a remote area of Kibbutz Be'eri. You can clearly see the visuals on your screen, the sad story of Kibbutz Be'eri, but yes, now it has been completely taken over by the IDF.
In a world where gender parity and empowerment has taken center stage, it is important to honor and recognize women pioneers who have redefined what is possible and also broken barriers. Hello and welcome to Techno Phantom V-Flip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV, where we bring to you these trailblazing women who have had an incredible impact on our world. Today we have with us India's first certified Pilates instructor. She is the fitness point of contact for several Bollywood celebrities. She is the artist behind the perfect bodies of the likes of Deepika Padukone, Katrina Kaif, Alia Bhatt, Kareena Kapoor Khan and several others. She inspires and guides her followers on social media to follow the path of fitness but in a more fun, less complicated and impactful way. Let's take a look at Yasmin Karachiwala's journey. From Bombay to Bollywood, Yasmin Karachiwala embarked on a fitness journey like no other. For over 3 decades, she's been the secret behind the perfect physiques of Bollywood's elite. The Pilates pioneer of India, Yasmin revolutionized the fitness landscape, gaining recognition worldwide. With countless success stories under her guidance, she turned her hobby into a profession, reshaping India's perception towards fitness. Hi Yasmin, thank you so much for having us. Thank you, Yasmin, for joining us on Techno Phantom V-Flip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV.
Thank you so much for having me here.
And you know, Yasmin, before we deep dive into this conversation, let's do a quick rapid fire round. Okay, the first one. Specific diet or eat everything in moderation?
Nutritious diet.
Weight training or yoga?
A mix of strength and stretch Pilates.
The best benefits of Pilates?
There are so many. Posture, core activation, strength, balance, stability, control, concentration, a lot of them.
Too many. Your favorite cheat meal?
Biryani.
One word that describes your journey?
Passionate.
Best celeb body you admire?
Akshay Kumar.
If not a fitness trainer, you would have been a
Teacher.
One advice for fitness enthusiasts?
Make sure that you do the right thing. Don't compromise form over anything else.
Best piece of advice you have ever received?
Never stop learning.
All right. So Yasmin, let's firstly...
Was I rapid enough?
Yeah, I think it was. And it could have been faster, but as long as it was honest. So firstly, for all our viewers, a little bit more about your journey. How have you come about to setting up Yasmin Karachiwala Body Image, and what has it taken for you to reach here?
My journey started over 30 years ago. I walked into this aerobic class thinking I'm a really good dancer and I can do everything. I was very embarrassed at the end of the class because I realized that I was very bad at coordination. So where the class was going right, I was going left. If they were doing knee-ups, I was kicking people. I was so embarrassed that I kept going back to the class again and again and again to make myself better, not realizing that I'd learned all the routines and I knew them. So once when the instructor was unwell, she called me at home and she said, can you take over my class and teach it? And I was a bit shocked, taken aback that how can I teach? And she said, there's a cassette lying, just play it, do whatever comes to your mind, and I'm sure you can do it. And I said, okay, great. I went, I put on the cassette, and to my shock and disbelief, as much as the class, I could do everything exactly the way she taught it. And at the end of the class, people came up to me and they said, when did you study this or learn this? And I said, well, with all you guys. And the teacher came back and she heard the reviews and she was pregnant. So she said, why don't you teach my afternoon class and I'll give you some money for it. And I said, great, pocket money in college sounded great. So I taught her afternoon class.
Why Pilates? You are a pioneer in that sense, and today Pilates, earns the reputation that it does, especially in Bombay, in India, where everybody wants to try it because, you have delivered the results in that sense and popularized it like
right.
that. What for you was the turning point of
choosing Pilates?
Of choosing Pilates.
So after I had my kids, and if you noticed, I said I became a personal trainer, then a Pilates instructor. I was doing group classes, which was cardio. I was doing strength training. After the kids, I had this little belly fat that wouldn't go. And I used to do like 1,000 crunches, to get rid of it, and it wouldn't work. And so I went on the net to research what can I do for belly fat. And Pilates came up and I was like, what is this pilates? And I studied more, I investigated more, and I realized that it worked on the core. For me at that time, I thought core meant abs, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I called up the school in California, which was supposed to be the most popular school at the time, and I said, I want to come become a Pilates instructor. And they said, what's your background? And I said, fitness, group trainer, personal trainer. They said, no, what's your Pilates background? And I said, zero. They said, you cannot, one of the prerequisites of becoming a Pilates teacher is that you have to be a Pilates practitioner for at least a year. And I said, well, nobody in India teaches Pilates, so how am I going to do that? And they said, we just want to tell you that you might be wasting your time and money traveling all the way to California. And I said, well, I've done yoga, I've done gym, I've done like cardio, I've done everything. I'm sure I can do it. So I booked a ticket, I went there for 6 months. And it was even harder than the first exam I gave because this was a whole new world. You had to know muscles even more deeply. You had to have an understanding of how your body works and stuff like that. It was very interesting because by then, of course, I was even more mature and very intrigued at learning this science, which was beautiful. And yeah, that's how I brought it back to India.
And who's been your biggest support system through this journey? Because you said you were already married by then.
I want to say my in-laws, because when I went to do Pilates, my kids were 2 and 4. And my in-laws had moved to my house to babysit my kids while I was away. And I called and I said, I want to do this, but it's not going to be 6 weeks, it's going to be 6 months. And I'll come back now, and then I'll come back after, 4 or 5 months to do this, but I don't know what to do. Can I do it? And my in-laws were like, just do what you need to do, beta. We are here to support you, and you go after your dream and do what you want to do. So I think if my in-laws weren't there to take care of my kids, I wouldn't have been on this journey. After that, I went to learn Pilates, came back. I had the machines. I just bought 2 machines, like the reformer with the tower and the chair, and I put that in my living room. So to get people to train in Pilates. And of course, coming back to your question, people would ask me, what is this? Why do we need to do this? The price point was more expensive because the training was more expensive. The machines cost an arm and a leg in those days. And I used to only say, come try it, because you won't know what it is unless you try it. And once people tried it, they were hooked onto it. So that's how I spread Pilates, because the celebrities started coming in, trying it out. And that's how you basically, get recognition for anything that you do, because they talk about it if they like it, and then people want to try it as well. But it did take many years, like now that everybody knows about what Pilates is and everybody's talking, but that took about 6 years, 7 years to do.
And how is it to train the celebrities? Who is your favorite? How disciplined are you? And of course, like now, thanks to social media, everybody knows the training routines and what it is like. But how is it on the inside?
I must say, all the celebs that I train are very disciplined. They make it a point to work out no matter what. So sometimes they're shooting 12 hours, 14 hours. They'll still sneak in, some time to work out. All of them are great. I love all of them. They're all very different to work with, different personalities, different body types, different requirements, different roles they're playing. And it's very interesting to work for each role that they do, right? And yeah, they're all my favorite.
So tell us, who was your first celebrity who you ever trained? And now, of course, how is it like to, train with Alia or Katrina, Deepika, Kareena?
So the first celebrity I trained, and this is like 30 years ago, was Dimple Kapadia, Twinkle, Gauri, and they were like the Alias, Katrinas of today, right? And I used to do group classes, like I said, so they used to come to my group class. Aishwarya's come to my group class. And there used to be lots of people, and like literally I used to have a group class of 25 people, and they were part of it. So it was not like, you single one person out. But then the first person who did personal training with me was Kareena. And that's about now 20 plus years ago. So yeah, it's always been one of the leading actors, of that time who was training with me. And it's wonderful because they're just like us. They're very, very normal people. It's just that we put them on a pedestal, and they have the same challenges that we do, and they work really, really hard.
Also I'd love to know from you how the concept of fitness and achieving that perfect body has changed in these 30 years, because there was a time when it was all about being a size 0, and no one typically looks up to that now. It is more about fitness. It is about having a body that helps you go in the longer run, as opposed to just shaping it a particular way or as per a certain standard. So how do you see that change in mindset?
So 30 years ago, when I started group class, of course, it was all about losing weight. When I became a personal trainer, women didn't weight train. So everyone was like, why are you weight training? You'll start looking like a man, And at that time, I used to squat 100 pounds. So I was like, I'm squatting 100 pounds. Which part of me looks like a man? So then I had to explain to people that women cannot look like men, because we do not have testosterone. We have, estrogen, and only if we take supplements can we look like men. And you're talking about the bodybuilders who do have to look that way because they're strength training and they're lifting and the power lifters, and then women slowly started weight training. So I would have people who would come to me for personal training and say, no, I don't want to work my upper body, I only want to work my lower body. Okay, then I'd have people saying, my lower body is perfect, I just want to work my arms, only my arms are fat, and stuff like that. Educating your clients is the key to having successful clients who last with you. Because otherwise what we do is we say, yeah, this is good for you, do it. But when you tell them why it's good for you, the why behind the exercise is the magic portion of training a client for me. Once they know the why, they start thinking, and then they know what they want from their body, right?
Needless to say, how exercising helps you stay positive. But you know, while you obviously put out that message to all those who train with you, through your personal journey and the challenges that you faced, how do you manage to keep up, with it and stay positive?
You know, I always look at a glass half full. Like a glass of water, I always look at it half full. It's really difficult sometimes, but I tell myself, this too shall pass. So I'll give you an example. When I moved out from my home studio, I moved to the building next door and I bought the first floor flat and I started a full-fledged studio, and that was like, oh my god, I spent all the money I had saved up. The day I started my studio, the building put a case on me and I used to go to court every fortnight to fight, and I was like, I've put in all my money. They knew I was building a studio. Why did they not stop me for those 6 months? And I was like, no, I'm going to fight it. And for 2 years, I fought it. Okay, I won in cooperative court. They took me to high court. And then it became ugly. They started sending all my celeb clients notices and stuff like that. So eventually I was like, you know what? I need to move out because the environment was getting very negative. But I just learned from there that, okay, the next place I move to needs to be commercial. I need to have all my licenses in place, so that something like this doesn't happen.
There's so much more I want to know from you, but right now we have to slip into a very short commercial break. And for all our viewers watching us right now, do stay tuned. We'll be back on Techno Phantom V Flip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV. Yasmin Karachiwala stays with us on the other side.
Confident about the Israeli forces has it, and they are on their way.
रॉकेट जो है वो यहाँ पर दागे जा रहे हैं और वो देखिए आप हमारे सिर के ऊपर से पास में जो है वो यहाँ पे मिसाइल्स गिरी है।
Welcome back. You're watching Techno Phantom V Flip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV. We are in conversation with Yasmin Karachiwala. And Yasmin, we're talking to you. We possibly want to know all the benefits of Pilates, especially when it comes to women, because they say that it hugely helps with hormonal imbalance. How does that work?
So basically Pilates, like I told you earlier in the show, it works on your balance, it works on your coordination, it works on your core, and your core is made up of your abdominal muscle, your deepest abdominal muscle, your diaphragm, your pelvic floor, and your multifidi, which is your deepest spinal muscle. So when you're working from your core, you're working from inside out, and when you do that, everything else falls in place. And basically exercise helps with hormones, and when you exercise you release a hormone called endorphins, which is your feel good hormones, and that's how you do it, right?
Yasmin, needless to say, you have changed the lives of so many women in terms of how they look, how you've shaped their bodies, and eventually how they feel confident. But through this journey, what are the changes that you've gone through while training them, and how has it helped you better yourself?
Each person I train, I learn something different from, right? And for me, the one key thing about my entire journey is educating myself. It's learning, it's speaking to professionals. So if you come to me and say you have a knee, your knee's hurting, I'm not going to act like the doctor and say, okay, we can do this. I call up my doctor and I'll say this is, or I'll send you to my doctor if it's really bad. Then I'll talk to the doctor to know how to work with you. There are so many kind of back pains there. So every body teaches you. The same way with celebrities, each person is working for a different role where they have to play a different avatar. So like what Katrina did for Chikni Chameli to what Deepika did for Cocktail to Pathan, it was completely different, you know. What Alia did for Shandar to Gangubai. Katrina was doing Kala Chashma, and that song had a lot of movement. We were only working on balance because her body used to get imbalanced because of the movement in that dance, you know. Or when she was shooting with Dhoom, you know, that she needed to be a gymnast. So we worked very differently on her body for that role. In that, she was doing a song where she was hanging on silks and, you know, rings, and so her body was very imbalanced again. So we were working more on balance during those times. But for Kamli, she was like needed to look muscular because that was the role. So we were working on weight training, and sometimes I don't know what to do. So I go back and I study and I read up and I talk to other professionals, and I have a lot of friends who are fitness instructors. So I'll, you know, have a discussion with them and ask them their opinion. And I never think that I know all the answers. And I think that's one of the great things of being an instructor is you don't need to have all the answers. And that's another reason surviving this industry for 30 years is honesty.
Once again, you know, Yasmin, given the kind of challenges we have to face in today's day and age, weight training and physically keeping fit is one aspect of it, but mental fitness also demands a lot of attention these days, and rightly so. So how do you actually help those who come to you in that direction with the exercise regime?
One of the most important things in Pilates, in any kind of training, is your breath. And your breath is known to do wonders to your mental state. And what people forget in the stressful life of ours is deep breathing. So when I work out with people for that hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is, I focus a lot on getting them to breathe, whether it's in weight training or Pilates. In Pilates, if you ever hear me instruct, I'm constantly going to tell you inhale, exhale, for 1 hour. That's all I'm saying besides giving other instructions, but the breath calms the mind.
Okay, so the next question is my favorite also, because I'd love to know how tech savvy are you, and also how do you think technology empowers women to challenge traditional gender norms?
I'm very tech savvy. I love technology. I think it's such a great way to reach out to millions of people. COVID took us to another level, right? Training people from around the world became possible. People were working from home. I was working from home. I was training people, and Preeti Zinta lives in the US now, and she would always say, yes, I miss working out with you. I miss working. So whenever she comes to Bombay, the first thing she does is book sessions with me and comes every day. And suddenly, because of COVID, I was able to train her in the US. And we realized that, hey, we could have done this all along, but we realized that. And I think it helps everyone. But for me, it helped me reach millions of women. I used to do an Instagram live 3 times a week. During COVID, which was open to everyone. People started doing it. My YouTube blew out of proportion.
The little recipes that you post, which are so healthy, they are my favorite. But coming to the next point, you know, Yasmin, training actors is one thing, but you also train cricketers and athletes. And how is their experience with Pilates?
I have trained cricketers like Zair Khan and Ajit Agarkar in the past. Recently, I trained Hardik Pandya, and he was going in for a back surgery, and his doctor wanted him to be fit before going for the surgery.